Hey everyone, it's Edge of Nightfall here, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to go over one of the things that I genuinely wish that I had paid much more attention to as an occultist. And I really believe that this applies to metaphysical practitioners of any kind, whether you're an occultist or maybe you're into the New Age or anything like that. This key study is something that will save you years of time in your esoteric practice. And that thing is the study of your personal astrology birth chart. Now, oddly enough, there are spiritual practitioners of various kinds who are highly skeptical of astrology. And this is not without its warrant. Astrology in today's day and age has a certain kind of stigma around it for truly being pseudoscience because of the way that it's been represented. But astrology is a very real occult art that, if you give it time and you really study and pay attention to, can yield tremendous results. So this insight of mine started a few months ago when I had a reading from an astrologer that I have known for many years now. And I got a reading from her, and she was talking to me about an aspect of my birth chart that was in direct conflict with some of the other planets in a specific zodiac sign, and how my natural inclination is to approach life from a very structured and systematic approach, but that actually there were several other planets in a specific zodiac sign that made it to where it's better for me to approach life in a more spontaneous fashion. So I have one aspect of my chart that's sort of going against that natural inclination for spontaneity that I have, and she was saying how I have to ignore that aspect of me that wants to do things by the book and embrace the more intuitive and the more innovative approach when it comes to learning things such as certain occult studies and even things outside of my occult path as well. Now, she had given me this advice before, but I never really understood the concept at the depth that she was talking about until this past reading. And that past reading really helped it click in my mind, the concept that she was trying to get me to understand. I remember after the reading, I dwelled on the message she gave me and sort of the light bulb moment that I had during the reading. I had finally realized what I was missing and why I kept on encountering roadblocks in my life and in my occult path, which I had been dealing with for many, many years now. And I just remember realizing that if I had just understood the concept she was trying to get across to me sooner, how much frustration and difficulty that I had in the past, how much of that would have never have happened? How much time and effort and frustration would I have saved along my path had I understood some of the key components of who I am and what my path is in this life? Now, this concept may not sound like much because it's difficult for me to explain it fully in this video, but this revelation really changed the way that I perceived my life path and my path in the occult, and was a real breakthrough for me. And so if I had had this information earlier in my path, I would have saved so much time, so much frustration and wasted effort if I had just understood. And I had moments where I did approach life in a more spontaneous fashion, in a way that, in a more eclectic fashion in multiple areas of my life, where I just did my own thing and walked my own path, and things worked brilliantly. But I always had that influence of that planet in another sign influencing me to do things rigidly and traditionally and conventionally. And that always steered me off course whenever I would have any sort of success in my life. And so when my astrologer highlighted that, it was a massive light bulb moment for me. So I say all of this to simply say that one of the best and most underrated things you can do as really anybody, but especially if you're into the occult and especially if you're into metaphysics of any kind, is to get your birth chart read by a professional astrologer and or study astrology. And not just and I'm not talking about the sun signs, like what's your sun sign. That only has to do with where the sun is in your chart. What I'm referring to is your actual chart in its entirety. Where are all of the planets aligned? In what zodiac signs? And how are they aspected to one another? Study the art of astrology by studying your chart as a point of learning. And if you can, hire a professional astrologer to outline and map out who you are. Now, astrologers are admittedly pretty expensive most of the time, so it's understandable if you can't afford tons of readings in a short period of time. It may take you a certain amount of time to get the amount of readings in necessary to fully understand your chart in its entirety. But go to an astrologer that you trust, that you've come to the conclusion that they know what they're talking about. Go to them as many times as you can, and through the combination of studying astrology yourself and studying your own birth chart and going to them to read your birth chart, accumulate that knowledge to understand who you are at your deepest astrological levels. Because that understanding of yourself, society will never give you the type of information about yourself that astrology will. People give astrology a lot of crap, but it really is a phenomenal art, and it will reveal things to you about yourself. And this also applies to divination in general. You know, astrology is one of the many divination systems out there, and you can learn those as well and figure out yourself through some of the intuitive impressions you receive by using those various methods. Astrology is not the only avenue to reaching understanding about yourself on a metaphysical level, but in my opinion, it is one of the most accurate in terms of doing readings for yourself or having readings done for yourself. The birth chart, the astrological birth chart or natal chart, is truly special. I really haven't come across anything like it. So my advice to everyone watching is, again, to go out and find out the exact time and the exact location, if you can, that you were born, or try to get as close to it as you possibly can with whatever knowledge you may have at your disposal, and identify your birth chart or the closest thing to it. Because once you do that, you will have an absolutely invaluable tool at your disposal. So I hope you all enjoyed today's video and got a lot of value out of it. If you did and you're not already, please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell icon to get notifications for future posts, and be sure to give this video a like. All of my social media accounts will be listed and linked in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.